So during my research of my technical formative, I was kind of trying to think of like what I wanted to do, and I knew last year one of the great northern rhinos went extinct last year. I don't know if it's northern, but it's one of the biggest rhinos went extinct last year, and I thought, okay, well I can work with extinction, and so I kind of went into learning stuff myself. So this is a very new species to me. So this is the cross river gorilla. It's one of the most threatened subspecies of gorillas on the planet. There's only about 300 of them left. So what makes them different from like lowland gorillas or silverback gorillas is that they have smaller facial features. They also have a different form of a smaller like jawline that actually makes them eat less and eat smaller foods compared to these big gorillas. So that's kind of how they're different. They also have shorter hands and feet. I guess they're kind of both the same. Yeah, so there is only about 300 of them, and they actually have only been discovered in the past 3 or 4 decades. They're still relatively new, even though they're kind of going extinct here soon. So I'm going to show you a video of the characteristics of them and what they kind of look like here. This is one of the most original footage that they caught.
Listed as critically endangered by IUCN's Red List, the Cross River gorilla numbers perhaps fewer than 300 across its entire range in Cameroon and Nigeria. This video was taken in Cameroon's Kugwene Gorilla Sanctuary, home to an estimated 16 gorillas. Researchers had staked out what they believed were some favorite fig trees of the gorillas and recorded them some 30 to 40 feet up in the trees, feasting away.
So they kind of look relatively to most other gorillas, but those kind of characteristics make them a little bit different. When researchers found them, they kind of actually counted them as a completely different category from regular gorillas, but just recently they just counted them as one of the subspecies. There's 4 classifications of the gorillas. There's the eastern gorillas and the western gorillas, and each side has 2 specific types of gorillas. So on this chart here, you can kind of see that they're almost like in the next category of going completely extinct. So it's quite sad. The researchers have actually discovered them recently from a civil war in the 1970s after they thought they were extinct. They discovered that there's actually 11 groups still surviving in this area over here. It's very small. They're all scattered out. There's about 10 to 20 of them in each group together, but there's about 11 groups spread out. You can kind of see how this bigger area over here is the western lowland gorillas, and then those are the Grars gorillas, and they're over there as well. They have more of a space. The reason why they have gone so isolated from all the other areas and had such small areas is 3 main factors. One of them is like agriculture and plantations. So for example, logging companies are a big thing in this area, as well as something called palm oil. Palm oil is one of these huge ingredients that you can find in your beauty products, shampoo, chocolate, or anything. Businesses see that people want this, especially in America, and so they do anything possible to get any more land or crop cash going. So they'll burn trees in the forest, and usually it's maintained, but sometimes it can be accidental, and the fire spread, which means it leaves them to migrate even further away from their homeland. Second thing that is a problem is poachers and hunting. Unfortunately, infants of the cross river gorillas are known to be sold as pets by the black market, which is kind of crazy to me, especially how big they get. But the problem with that is that if someone, like a poacher, tries to kill the mother of these children and the children get away and they try to find a new male father or whatever, usually the male father will kill the infants because they see them as competition and they want to breed with another set of gorillas. So it's all in all, it's not good for the infants because they have nowhere to go really. If their mother dies, they're kind of on their own. Here you can kind of see a snare trap. What usually happens is the gorillas will set their feet in there, and it's like barbed wire, so it catches onto them and they can't move, and usually the poachers will come later that day to come collect them. I didn't want to do anything graphic for you guys, just for the sake of all of you, so I just kind of did a picture of people discovering the snare traps and stuff like that. Usually people around the villages, some it's not hasn't been recently. Since 2014 is the last time a Cross River gorilla has been killed. But they use something. It's a bushmeat trade, which is what they use for food and medicine and stuff like that. The villages around there tend to use it, but clearly it's not allowed. The third and final contributing factor to that is residential establishments. So many villages live around the area, and which is great, and that's totally fine. That's where they are supposed to live. But the problem is they are developing more roads throughout these villages, and the roads means more transportation for cash crops and stuff like that, which leads the gorillas migrating away from any sort of human activity. The only problem with this is that gorillas are very, very shy when it comes to any sort of human activity. They're just as scared as we are of them. So any sort of logging companies that are nearby, crop companies that are around, or just villages in general, they usually will go away from that, which is sometimes a problem because researchers and conservationists are trying to find them, not chase them away. And so, yeah, building new roads is great for humanity, but sometimes it can be kind of a two-edged sword there when it comes for these animals. So help is coming. So what are people doing nowadays to contribute to help with the decline population of these gorillas is that conservationists are trying to be as non-invasive as possible when it comes to doing their research. Since these gorillas are still fairly new, it's still taking them a lot of effort to make sure that they know everything about these gorillas that they need to see how they can help them. So they're using satellite imagery. This is one I saw in a video. I clipped this. This is a satellite imagery they use to see if there's any sort of nesting grounds or anything like that from above, so they don't have to invade their space and don't have to affect where they are. They can just kind of do their thing while doing research. So it's one of the great things. And then this website here is the Cross River Gorilla Program. They do a bunch of sanctuaries that they're building, and they're also building a bunch of migration paths for gorillas so that they can actually move throughout the land without being so isolated from all the roads being built. So extinction is pretty scary. It's kind of one of those things that once it's done, there's no going back. So hopefully this can kind of just help you appreciate the animals that we are alive to see on this earth now, and yeah, it gives you just a nice love for them.